Cub?
Yes.
Hey, buddy, you're talking to Jim and Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good to talk to you again. You know, it's funny. We were just talking about your tweet about Demetrious on Saturday, that even if you argued that DJ wasn't a draw, just off the accomplishments alone, he should be worth $20 million a fight right now. Legend. It really is amazing how this guy is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world and just is not the draw that some of these other guys are.
Yeah, I think it's, just the fans not really respecting it. That Wilson Hayes was, definitely a great opponent, and he demolished him and then finished him with a submission, which that's his strength. So, it was pretty impressive. I'd like to see guys like that are just killing it in the game to be taken care of,
Well, I wonder, if it's not respect or if it's just the fact that he's almost an institution at this point. I was joking with Demetrious. We talked to him. I told him he was like U.S. Steel in the sense that you're just there and you're everyone knows you're almost an unbeatable champion. People take it for granted. And the fact that he's a gentleman. And if you look, Daniel Cormier, got on the mic and started talking some shit. Jose Aldo recently said, do you think, and I want to, because you've been around since, I guess, 2004, do you think that it has changed? Aldo indicated that when he was coming up, it was a little bit different. Do you think what sells fights and what makes fights exciting now has changed from when you started?
Oh, for sure. When I was coming up, same thing with Aldo. They were pushing the Rich Franklins, the guys, the George St. Pierre's, the guys that, were educated, the guys that spoke well, and not guys that were getting into trouble. And the reason being is we were still trying to get big sponsors on board and trying to show that this sport's not a bunch of thugs. So respect is a big part of the game. It's mixed martial arts.
Sure.
So, sometimes I don't mind the crap talking if it's genuine, but a lot of these guys think that, that's what I got to do now. And like I'm meeting guys in the gym and they're super nice guys and they go on their social media and I'm just like embarrassed for them.
Oh, no.
This is
making asses of themselves.
No, it's true.
Because they think it's what they have to do, and I'm like, no, just be you, man.
Yeah, it's got to be organic.
If you're an asshole, then be an asshole. Yeah.
Well, Matt pointed that out about Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Do you think it was a mistake? And again, Aldo, who we love, but he said that's how you sell a fight. Like you're not supposed to break that wall.
No, it's really bad. Like Cub was just saying, it's bad when you, especially if you know that it's not the guy. It's something they're putting up. It's a fake act. Like Conor McGregor, whether it is or not, he's good at it. He's really good at talking. And again, the guy could fight. It's not like the guy he's talking and he can't fight. But these other guys that really could fight, but they don't have that. They just concentrate on the fighting. You know what I mean? Because it does get embarrassing. And like Jose Aldo, who obviously could fight, he basically says like, all right, now I'm going to just talk trash because that's how you sell fights. But dude, by just saying that, you're ruining it.
Yeah. That's like if you tell a girl, hey, that dress is really pretty, and she goes, really? And you go, well, yeah, I want to fuck you. So you're not supposed to admit that. We all know why you said it.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to say it. Yeah, you're not supposed to say it. You know what I mean? You got to let people believe it. And when Aldo did, and again, just to talk about him because of this, when he against Conor, I think that he did something that didn't seem like him, where he kind of got in the ring and he mocked Conor's pose, and it was like that seemed so out of character for him. You knew that Conor had kind of gotten him out of his game, and it's got to be like you said. I think it's got to be real. And if you see a guy who's one way, and then you go on their social media, it's just it doesn't feel genuine.
It doesn't.
Yeah, the other thing about Aldo in that fight, too, is he never, I remember this when we fought, he never looks his opponent in the eye.
That's right.
And, he's just one of those guys that, doesn't want to give him a face. It's just an opponent. And that's his thing. But he looked him right in the eyes, and he was trying to make that eye contact, and that is not his thing. So why would you, mentally, Conor is the best at just getting people off of their game mentally.
Yeah, and now, have you ever had that, too? Because I know that they say when you're angry, you don't fight as effectively. Like, you just don't because you don't think as much. You react with emotion. I think in that fight, Jose ran in much faster than he would have. He wanted a quick knockout. He wanted to hurt him. Whatever he wanted to do, establish himself. And it cost him because I think that he didn't fight a fight that he would have fought normally. Have you gotten to that point where somebody's upset you so much or taken you out of your game? I'm sure over these years it's had to have happened once.
Just the Jose Aldo fight, and it's not that he pissed me off. It was just a matter of everyone saying how good he was and that, you know, he was so dominant. So I just wanted to get in his face right away. And right off the bat, when the fight started, he was like backing up. And so I was just like trying to just, you know, be the guy who did the pressure. And then I walked right into a knee, and I learned from that mistake. Pretty much from now on, from then on, sorry. Every time I get, you know, somebody tries to beef with me or make it bigger than it is, it's just like I take that in and I just use that as fuel to the fire. It doesn't make me react instantly. It's just that when the moment happens where I can give him payback, I'm going to give it to him twice as much.
And congratulations, by the way. I don't think we've talked to you since the Duho Choi fight. Absolutely an incredible fight and an incredible win for you. That's
Thank
really
you.
one of the best fights in the last year,
it's a
easily, if
fun
not
one.
the best fight so far in the last 12 months.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a fun one.
And what do you think of, by the way, the replay? They're talking about the replay. And again, I'm asking because of the length of your career. And you've seen so many changes and all these new rules about the hands on the ground and when you can, putting your hands out with your fingers sticking out. Has any of that affected you at all?
No, not me personally. I try to pay attention to the rules. It's hard when, you know, they're constantly changing things, and then every referee has like a slightly different description of them.
It's like a strike zone.
And yeah, the strike zone is for one. So it's just, you know, it's hard, but, you know, it's part of the rules, and guys need to get good at them, and they need to know them. And, you know, I think they could do a better job of, you know, really pushing the guys to know them.
And you had lost 2 fights to Frankie and Max Holloway, and then you've won 3 straight. What have you done differently in the last 3? Was there something you changed in training?
Just trying to train smarter, and then, you know, in those 2 losses, I was really got hyped up in that title shot thing, and it was just an emotional roller coaster, and it really got me away from what was important to me. And it's just about having great performances. And so most of it was mental, and it's made me way stronger of a fighter.
And I don't know if we talked to you about this last time, too. You were raised in a very, very interesting way. You were homeschooled. I don't know if we asked you about that last time.
I don't think so.
And I'm always interested in that, too. Like, did that help you or hurt you socially, do you think, when you were a kid? I always wonder if it makes it harder for kids to socialize when they're homeschooled.
I honestly think it hurt, you know, because I was home. I started being homeschooled at 3rd grade, and then I started going to a public high school, and I was like raised like in church, and all the kids in my church were all homeschooled, so I only hung out with them. And then when I went to high school, I had a lot of cousins and family that were there on my other side of my family that I hadn't really seen a lot, and they were all kind of hanging with the rough crowd, and I was so like insecure of who I was at that point that it was just easier for me to be the tough guy and kind of roll with them, and it just kind of led me to a different path, and I wasn't really being myself. So I really feel like being homeschooled had its benefits, but socially made me behind on everything.
Well, you were involved in gangs, and was this also because I know that you were raised with, I guess, an adoptive family because your dad had passed away and your mom kind of, it was very, very hard for her. So then you were raised with this family, but then you went back to your mom at one point.
Yeah, so I was raised, it was my dad's cousin, and him and his wife, they were very young. They took me and my brothers in for 10 years, did a great job, and my life was pretty easy, and then they ended up getting a divorce, and my mom had, you know, been doing well for a long time, so we moved back with her, and I was at 13 or 14, and so that was right my freshman year of high school, and then, you know, public school, and you know, my mom had 7 kids, and so it was kind of it was crazy. I moved in to like my mom's house, and there was like sometimes 16 people living in the house. And,
oh my God!
In like a 3-bedroom, so it was like quite a change. But Yeah, so it was just a weird time in my life. That's kind of the reason I went the other way. You know, fighters are always one way or the other, very extreme personalities. So I went from a little church kid to a little badass real quick.
Yeah, and you spent some time in a juvenile facility. And did that kind of straighten you out? Like, I know that when you got out, you were working with, I guess, kids with cerebral palsy, and you were taking jiu-jitsu, and that kind of set the course of your life into a better direction?
Yeah. So, you know, I was trying to be, you know, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. So I was trying to be like a real badass, and landed me in juvenile hall real quick and did a year, and had a lot of time to think and kind of map how I got there. It's the same thing I do with my fighting career, kind of evaluate, okay, how did I get here? What choices did I make? How could I be better? And, you know, that was kind of changed my mindset. And then started going to college when I got out, worked with kids with cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome. I got into that because my youngest sister has Down syndrome, and I love her to death. So that's how I got into that. Did that for about 4 years, and then I decided to quit that job and move to Orange County to pursue fighting full time.
So dealing with someone with Down syndrome is difficult. I guess it teaches you a lot of patience, you know, when dealing with someone who's disabled.
Yeah, it depends, you know, on the special needs that they have. Kids with Down syndrome are, you know, they're usually like the happiest. They're pretty easy to deal with. You just got to give them a lot of attention. I think the hardest kids that we had trouble with were kids with autism. They're just their mind is always changing, and they need structure, but it's on their terms, and you have to, like, you know, be on their schedule all the time. And I would see their parents stressed out all the time. So it's a pretty interesting, thing that kids have. It's crazy.
So, no, go ahead. I was just going to say, this weekend, Artem Lobov, did I pronounce it right?
Lobov.
Lobov? Is that just the way I pronounce my accent? Anyway, tough dude, as you know. But I mean, I got you picked as the more well-rounded guy. How do you feel you match up with him?
I think it's a great matchup. You know, I know why he called me out. He's wanting big fights, and he wants somebody that'll stand and bang with him, and he knows that that's more my style. So I know he's a tough guy. He's got great coaches, great training partners. So I'm expecting the best version I've seen of him, and it's a 5-round fight. So he doesn't get taken out very often. So I expect to beat him up for 5 rounds.
You're expecting this. You're not looking for a quick end to this fight. You know this is gonna be a very difficult fight.
I'd love to knock him out early, shut him up, but you know, if he hangs in there, and because, you know, obviously he's training his butt off, so if he's in there and can take it, I'll be ready for a 5-round war.
And what do you think? I mean, we asked this of a lot of fighters, but I mean, you are ranked number 4. So where do you think this puts you if you do beat him?
Well, it's all about, you know, over the rankings are there a little bit, but it's also about performances. So I need to go out there. I need to perform. I expect myself to perform better every time. I feel like I've done that since my comeback from my losses. So with the Hakran, the Kawajiri fight, and the Duho Choi fight, I feel like my performances have been better and better every time. So that's all I'm looking for is having the best performance, you know, that I've had this in this last string of fights, the best version of myself ever, actually. And then that'll be enough to get a title fight. And
do you must be happy now that the division is finally, or they took Connor's belt, so now it's going to be, you know, Max Holloway against Jose Aldo. There's going to be one champion in the division, as there should be. So it's got to make you feel good that at least the division kind of makes sense now, and there's no more ambiguity about who's the champion. Is an interim champion? It's just going to be solved now.
Yeah, I'm super happy for it. I think that fight's going to be awesome. As a fan, I'm looking forward to it. You know, Max Holloway, I've been wanting to get a title shot for years, but Max Holloway was won 10 in a row, kind of ridiculous. So, I mean, I'm happy to see him get a title fight, and I think it's going to be a great fight.
Well, you're number 4. Frankie is number 3, and he's fighting. Frankie's number 2, fighting Yair Rodriguez. So there's definitely a chance to move up one, because either Aldo or Holloway is going to lose, and the loser will probably still stay in the top 2 or 3. So you may be able to move up one, and they could definitely look at you for a title shot if you have a good showing. And maybe Frankie doesn't have a good showing. It could absolutely look good for you. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that the rankings aren't everything, or the number 2 guy would always fight the number 1 guy. But, I mean, everybody in the top 5 has already fought for the title, So, and I've been there the whole time and never have. So they can only give one guy so many title fights if they keep falling short, you know what I mean? So
you've never fought for the title, never.
I've never fought for a title ever.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's got close though.
Yeah.
Well, this is a huge opportunity for you to make a statement, Cub.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I'm training my butt off. I'm not looking past this guy.
No.
Like I said, I need to go out there and put on my best performance yet. People love my last fight, and I need to do better this time.
Dude, well, we're very happy for you. You're an animal, and I hope that you have a great fight against Artem Lobov. It's the main event fight, UFC Fight Night, Swanson versus Lobov, Saturday, April the 22nd from Nashville, Tennessee. Yep. And it's always good talking to you, man. You have a very, very interesting life, and you're an interesting guy. So good luck, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, Cub.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Cub.
Take care, Cub.
Wow, I didn't really, it's funny, you take a guy for granted like that. Like, Cub Swanson's been fighting for, forever, and you don't realize he's never fought for a title.
Yeah, he's gotten close, man. He got that fight with Frankie Edgar that if he would have won that fight, he would have fought. I think Frankie fought Jose Aldo after that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could win a bunch and have that one fight that can get you right
Cowboys
there.
had that a bunch.
And you lose it.